Hello, this is Joseph Labrecque, and we're going to look today and see how to create a tree inside of Photoshop. So I have Photoshop open here, and the first thing we need to do is to create a new file. So let's go to File, New, and here we have 7 by 5, default Photoshop size. That should be just fine, so we'll hit OK. And here Photoshop generates this PSD for us. Now, what we'll want to do is, I like to always create a new layer. So we'll call that layer 1, and we'll make sure that that layer is selected. And what we need to do is to fill this layer with something. That something is going to be a tree that we generate. A lot of people don't know about this particular feature inside of Photoshop, but it's really cool to mess around with. What we'll do is go to Edit, and we're going to choose Fill. So when we choose fill, we can choose a number of different contents. So by default, you have foreground color, background color, which is basically white or black in terms of the swatches I have selected here. But you can also do some kind of cool stuff like create a pattern. And aside from the regular patterns that we see right here, which will basically fill the entire layer, we also have down here scripted patterns. So inside of scripted patterns, we have things like brick fill, cross weave, and so forth. We also have, way down at the bottom here, tree. So if we choose tree and hit OK, it'll bring up another dialog for us to mess with. So right away we get sort of, this pre-rendered tree here, and we can see the type is of an oak tree. But we've also got a bunch of different types of other trees that we might want to use. For instance, a redwood. We can choose a maple tree. Maybe I'll go with maple tree here. And there are some really interesting things that we can do. We can change the light direction. And you can see as I move the light direction, we can see the sun actually move around this little tree scene right here. We can change the tilt of the camera and the amount of leaves. So if we change the amount of leaves, you'll notice that the leaves will decrease. Right now when I'm recording this, it's getting to be autumn, so let's pull the leaf amount down quite a bit. And we'll also use a custom color for our leaves. That custom color is going to be something kind of autumnal. So maybe something like that. And keep it a little closer to gray. That looks pretty good. Hit OK. So that looks like a nice autumnal tree. Some of the leaves have fallen off already. And yeah. You can also choose the custom color for branches and do a number of things like adding noise and randomizing shapes and so forth. I think this is okay like it is, so I'm going to hit OK. Now what will happen here is Photoshop was going to go and take some time to actually render this fill. So let's skip ahead. Okay, so there's our tree rendered out. And you'll notice, since we actually created a new layer first before we enacted that fill, that we can easily turn off the background layer. And we've got a tree that can be placed in any sort of a scene we want. And we can generate any number of these and create smart objects out of them, place them wherever. So a neat little trick. Again, it's Edit, Fill, Pattern, Scripted Patterns, Trees.